Buongiorno a tutti, soprattutto al professor Ivo Aertsen che è arrivato nel pomeriggio di ieri e abbiamo avuto la possibilità di guardare un po' la nostra città e soprattutto ringraziamo anche Bruno Fiera che è qui con noi e domani incontreremo con lei non solo dal punto di vista teorico ma anche dal punto di vista sensoriale per la comunità riparativa. E ringrazio tanto la professoressa Cico perché ci ha accompagnato in tutta questa settimana, penso che tutti abbiamo avuto modo di apprezzarla e oggi diamo parola. Ma prima di tutto oggi concludiamo con un incontro che per noi ha un grande valore. Il professor Ivo Aertsen è ordinario di criminologia e direttore dell'Istituto di Criminologia dell'Università Cattolica di Lovanio. È tra i fondatori e i principali animatori dello European, io in inglese sono proprio scarso, Forum for Restorative Justice, e dirige la rivista Restorative Justice che ha lasciato alcune copie che poi nel nostro ufficio saranno disponibili, ma credo che possano essere interessanti anche per tutti noi che approfondiamo questi temi. Abbiamo chiesto la sua presenza anche in qualità di esperto per le Nazioni Unite, il Consiglio d'Europa, l'Organizzazione per la Sicurezza e la Cooperazione Europea, e credo che avere questo sguardo internazionale, poter comprendere che cosa accade in Europa e nel mondo rispetto anche ai passi che stiamo facendo in Italia sia per noi molto prezioso, perché aiuta a collocare le nostre pratiche e anche le nostre riflessioni in un contesto che ci aiuta a indirizzarle meglio, anche a volte a relativizzarle. Come imposteremo l'incontro, ci sarà un intervento di circa un'ora e mezza, poi ci saranno, vedremo come collocare la pausa, ma poi ci saranno gli interventi di Maghira e di Bianca Maria e poi avremo invece lo spazio nostro per porre domande. Leonardo, che poi con noi mi ha chiesto di fare questa introduzione, spero che sia stata chiara. Il gruppo lo ripresento, è un gruppo molto variegato, di persone che hanno anche esperienze molto diverse, che vengono dal mondo del carcere, ma anche dal mondo del tribunale, di chi è già mediatore, di chi ha terminato o sta terminando gli studi all'interno dell'università, e per noi è stato molto arricchente anche il lavoro di confronto non solo tra esponenti di università che non sono di Bergamo e professori che insegnano qui all'università, ma questa dimensione critica che abbiamo voluto porre rispetto alla nostra pratica per poter costruire meglio, perché non diventi autoreferenziale. Siamo stati molto aiutati anche dalla presenza appassionata e molto ricca dei partecipanti. E quindi la presenza di lei, professor Aertsen, per noi è preziosa perché arriva al culmine di un percorso che è partito da una riflessione filosofica. Abbiamo affrontato il tema di giustizia riparativa con il professor Giustizia, abbiamo dato una visione anche interreligiosa con il rabbino Gai e ieri purtroppo io non ho potuto esserci, ma è stato un incontro splendido con il professor Forti per scoprire quanto la letteratura possa essere una risorsa anche per un approfondimento giuridico, criminologico, psicologico e molti altri aspetti della giustizia riparativa e della giustizia in genere. Il professor Ivo Aertsen ha una pubblicazione sterminata, per cui la trovate nella presentazione, non la prego neppure,
warn you for only one day, maybe that I could not be here for the whole week. But okay. So good morning again. It was mentioned that literature can contribute to our understanding of what crime is and what restorative justice is, mediation is, and I would like also to show how maybe film can contribute to our understanding of what happens between a victim and an offender when you are both linked to each other through an offense or a crime. Let me show you, to introduce my presentation, a small part of an interactive new media documentary that was made by us and by some other universities some years ago. I just show you a couple of things, a few minutes, or maybe only 1 minute, and then I will start with my presentation. And we can come back to these images and to this documentary, to this film later today, if you like. Let's try. Let's see whether it works.
In the aftermath, the state intervenes to protect, to punish. The prosecutor stands in for the victim. This casting is not self-evident. The state performs its balancing act, justice is played out, but its retributions do not atone. Atonement requires a change of identity, a transformation of the offender or of the offense that erases guilt or compels remorse. We are intended to suffer in recognition of our own misdeeds, not punish others for theirs. After the trial, the conflict is over, or so it appears at a distance, but not for the victim or for the offender. The act, the crime, brought them into a relationship that is as yet unresolved. They each have questions. Why me? What had I done? What actually happened? How did I react? Who am I in this case? Paradoxically, they need each other's help to find the answers. In boxing, the distance refers to the scheduled length of a fight. 9 rounds, 12. For the boxer, as for all of us, the goal is to stay standing, to win inside the distance. In the space of mediation, the distance is materialized in the length of the table, the time of a meeting. This encounter becomes a kind of reenactment, not a reconciliation, but a reconsideration of a fact. They recall the event, rehearse its details, measure the intervals, the gaps, struggle to revise the plot, to remember who they were, and recognize what they can become. There is a sense of futurity in reenactment, an inclination toward a second chance, another version of the past that ends up differently. There is a special kind of truth to reenactment, a sense of sanction, authority, and consent that creates an agreed-upon version of what happened, one that is somehow more than the reality it represents. What follows here is also a kind of reenactment, more document than documentary, that stages the accounts, positions, and spaces of mediation described to me by victims, offenders, and mediators. I ask the actors to change places and assume conflicting subject positions, to perform the transformations, the shifts, and reversals that occur in lived experience. After all, at some level, at some moment, we are all victims. We are all offenders.
You just type in insidethedistance.net, insidethedistance.net, and you will find immediately these first images, and then you can try out several things when you look at this and continuation, and you can ask, you can go into aspects related to restorative justice. For example, what is revenge, or what is punishment, or what is reconciliation, and so on. And the stories that are played there, because this is made with professional actors, are real. The stories are from mediation cases in Belgium. So, and the new media documentary was made in the United States by an artist from the University of California. And so that was for us an attempt to make restorative justice, to present restorative justice, mediation, in a more visible way, and to reach a broader, a larger public in society, in order to inform the public and to present it in an attractive way. But we will come back to this topic of how to inform the public, how to maybe educate the public and society later this morning for sure. So, restorative justice, it's a terrible long title, sorry. Actual achievements, further potential developments and possible pitfalls in a European horizon. So I will really try to sketch a little bit the international, or at least certainly the European context when we talk about restorative justice. And I try to deal with three parts. First, I would like to say something about the development and the implementation of restorative justice in European countries. I will present some very general observations, findings, and we will discuss what is now achieved in European countries in a very general way. Second point is to discuss some challenges and pitfalls. We will ask ourselves the question, how well is it implemented now in European countries? Even when there is a legal framework in countries to provide mediation or restorative justice, does it work well? And how much is use made of it? A second challenge, I think, is the victim, the position and the dimension of the victim in restorative justice programs. And another challenge is, I think, the role of the community. We will discuss that as well. But I will finish with some optimistic perspectives, some innovative perspectives. That's a little bit my personal opinion then, that I will present about where should we go, how to go forward in this field of restorative justice. Before we present some of the findings and the state of affairs, let's say, in European countries, maybe it's good to ask ourselves the question, how do we understand restorative justice? And of course you have discussed it already a whole week. Many of you are very familiar, I think, with restorative justice and with mediation. And usually a reference is made to some of the main authors in this field, internationally speaking. And then often the person of Niels Christie is mentioned. You know him, I suppose, or many know him. So Niels Christie he died last year. Niels Christie was a Norwegian criminologist. Yeah, and he published in 1977 in the British Journal of Criminology this famous article with the title Conflicts as Property. And in 1977 this was really a totally new way of thinking. What he argued for is that we in our Western societies are stealing the conflict from the rightful owners of the conflict, the victim and the offender. We that are lawyers, social workers, psychologists, with best intentions, what we are doing is we do not give the conflict back to those immediately involved, the victim and the offender, but we solve it in their place, whether we are a social worker or a lawyer or a magistrate. So conflicts as property was a little bit a provocative article, but it had a lot of influence, I think, worldwide. So, a second publication is the book by Howard Sayer in 1990 with the title Changing Lenses. You might have heard about that book. I don't know whether this is translated in Italian. No. Yeah. And Howard Sayer is a professor in Eastern Mennonite University in the United States, and he was a probation worker in his younger years, but also he was a photographer, and he used the metaphor of changing lenses to speak about crime and criminal justice. His point was the following: it is important to know what kind of lens you are looking through when we discuss phenomena or social problems. And if I use my camera, and if I put another lens on my camera, then I will have another picture of the landscape, narrow or broad, or I don't know, or colored, and so on. So the lens that we use to look at social phenomena, not only at the landscape, but also the lens that we use to look at personal problems, at social problems and issues, is often very much determining what we see. And we are not always aware of the lens that we are using when we look at crime and conflict. So we should reflect about what are our assumptions, what are our ideas intuitively when we talk about crime. What is crime according to us? So how we look at crime is important. It means how should we define crime? What is a crime for us? And then depending on that definition, you can start talking about how should we then react to crime. So restorative justice is not only about how to deal with crime and how to respond and react in an effective way, but it is also about how do we perceive, how do we define crime. And these two levels cannot be separated, I think, from each other. Restorative justice is, my third point on slide, restorative justice is about, very generally speaking, balancing the needs of three important parties: victims, offenders, and the community or society. Yeah? Balancing the needs of these three parties. It means that these three parties are equal, that they are all very important, and that not one of the three is more important than the other. So the art of restorative justice